My name is Kelly Gaines, and I took the Latin American Cinema class in spring of 2015.
My name is Bryce, and I took Latin American Cinema during the spring of 2016.
My name is Julia, and I took the class in spring 2016.
My name is Ariana. I took the Latin American Film Studies class in spring of 2015.
My name's Carla, and I took the Latin American film class in 2015, in the spring. The workload is pretty easy. I mean, as long as you watch the movies, and you can make an event out of that, like watch it with your friends, right?
The workload is pretty easy. It's basically, I think, just one movie every week, which you can always find time to do, especially at home, even if you have to put it on and be cooking or cleaning or whatever, as long as you're paying attention.
The workload is pretty decent. There's not like an excessive amount of work. Your homework is basically to watch movies, so.
The workload is fairly easy. You're never really stressed. The movies are about 2.5, 3 hours long, but all you have to do is just focus on the movies and just listen to key points and you'll be set.
The workload compared to my other film classes was relatively easy and super fun to do, actually, because usually it consisted of watching films. Yeah, she always made sure that we knew what we were watching and why we were watching it, its relevance to history and our lives, which was super helpful because if not, I wouldn't have cared about it. But she made sure I cared.
Professor Salmon is extremely helpful. She always makes sure that you know the material and you understand what you're getting yourself into, and the quizzes are straightforward, and she actually makes sure that, that you just can make a good grade and that you understand what you're doing.
The professor was always really helpful. She was really good at clarifying things that we necessarily didn't understand on our own, and also encouraged a lot of discussion in the classroom.
Super helpful. She is probably my favorite professor that I had at Loyola, and it's really nice to have a teacher who wants you to care about what you're doing and wants you to understand in an enthusiastic way instead of just pass your tests.
Super helpful. Professor Salmon will sit with you and explain things if you need them, and she's very easy to work with. Definitely. The most time-consuming part is going to be making time to watch the movies, and you're watching a movie.
Definitely. I don't remember there being a time that I was stressed out about the work or the studying.
Sometimes the movies are pretty long, like sometimes you feel like you don't have time to watch like a 3-hour movie, but if you love watching films like I do, then it doesn't really feel like homework.
The hours are pretty manageable. When I took it, it was on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and all we'd have to do was just watch a movie just once a week, and it's pretty manageable, never conflicted with anything else.
Definitely. I loved like all the different cultures I was exposed to through film, because I guess when you get like a sense of film history, it doesn't really touch on every culture, and she made sure we touched on a lot of cultures in Latin America, which is like really helpful to me being Latin American.
One of the things I loved most about the class was just learning about the different countries in general and just about their political views, and just being able to see it in the format of a film, because some people are just visual learners, and just being able to see it in a different point of view has just helped me shape my perspective of it.
I really loved learning about different film styles that I haven't really encountered before, especially compared to typical American films, and also just learning about the history of places that I've never learned the history of before.
We had a really great experience with just classmates, and you would frequently get the chance to talk to everybody about the film that you're watching, and it was pretty satisfying to have great conversations.
Just the context that we had around the movies, because it's one thing to watch them, but it's also like getting the history behind it really makes it just a really great way to know what's going on currently. Actually, a little bit more history. I mean, it's a strong point and a weak point, just because you become so interested in what's going on that you want to know more, and there just isn't enough time.
I think I remember sometimes having kind of technology issues watching the movies, but as far as the content goes, I honestly loved every minute of it.
We would always get into a lot of group discussions in the class, which is great, but sometimes we'd get so into it that we'd kind of lose track of time and maybe not be able to cover everything, which isn't necessarily a weakness.
One thing I would change about the class is the time spent on each country. I would have rather spent a little more time maybe on the Caribbean or Latin America rather than just solely on Mexico. But
The only thing I would change is spending more time on each film, or like getting a wider variety of films to be exposed to, because we only did a few films and I would have liked to learn more about each country and watch more films. I would say unique.
interesting.
Captivating.
I would say fulfilling, because it was kind of challenging sometimes, but I always felt like I was learning something really cool and interesting.
Revolutionary.